It's Wednesday, and game night is now. I'm Dan, joined by my esteemed panel of experts.
We're
Flippin'
starting.
sweet himself, Jeff. Steve, God damn it. Can you at least try to pay attention?
You didn't even get to me yet, Dan. Thank you very much.
And Mex,
Yo,
3 left, man.
yeah,
Unless it's even more.
we're getting
you
there.
got
Any
another
more
one
since
today?
We're getting there.
Which one
Dude.
did you collect?
I got a shiny Moltres today, and I just need a Mewtwo and 2 shiny Kabutos. 1 hour. Not sure what Vortex is talking about.
That's not a whole lot of game left.
That's the maximum amount of time he's going to listen.
You starting to freak out?
No, I mean, I'm not worried about finishing. I'm more worried about what I'm going to do next. If
Yeah,
that,
that's what I
you
mean.
know, oh yeah. I mean, my current plan is just catch them all, give them all away in one epic stream, and then start over again.
I still think that you should just find some random streamer that has no views and just dump all of them on them and just be like, all right, you're done. You can stop streaming now.
You know who has almost no views is Game Night Now.
That's true. I can
Yeah.
give them to myself.
You could just give him the Jeff, and then he could just pretend to shiny hunt them.
Then I could
Just be like,
pretend
oh,
to be the very best.
I got this one off camera. Sorry, guys.
I got all 150 off camera.
So we're back for another week of. I think we're back to being unnamed again because random encounters just isn't flying anymore.
Yeah,
So,
I titled the podcast title episode I don't remember. So I
I
feel
thought
like
we
that's
were
a
the
solid.
Rovers, season 6, episode 4.
that was just that one episode.
Yeah, that was for the waffle mayonnaise.
Mayo
actually-
podcast talk.
I actually coated chicken breasts with mayonnaise and then breaded it today for dinner.
Mhm.
It was actually really good. Thought it was going to be
Yeah,
slimy
you-
and a little soggy. Turned out really good.
You know, that's the key to making a bomb-ass grilled cheese is a little bit of mayo on the outside because
If
it
you watch-
sears the shit out of it.
If you watch this week's Binging with Babish, he goes through all the different ways to make a grilled cheese sandwich and determines that butter is still king.
Yeah, I mean,
I keep hearing
I
the
know
mayo,
people
but-
use mayonnaise and
put-
butter,
You
but
put
I would use
butter in the
butter.
pan, yeah.
Yeah, the mayonnaise makes for a nice even browning, but they're both good.
Somebody watches the Food Network.
I've watched nothing but the Food Network. I get angry that the Food Network is now nothing but competition shows. So I watch it mostly in the morning on the weekends when they actually show real
who's-
cooking shows.
Who's your preferred celebrity chef?
Oh, I mean, it's probably the Pioneer Woman.
Interesting. I find her insufferable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How so?
She's just so humble. Like she's like, oh, my husband's just the greatest person ever. I'm gonna go make him shit potatoes and grits and bring them out to him after he's done.
Yeah, take him
testing
out in
cows."
the field. He's out.
Yeah.
He's like a multi-billionaire steer rancher.
Right. Right. The show always boils down to like she's like, oh, just don't mind me. I'm in the kitchen, and then my heroic husband's gonna come in his truck with 400 people, and those
Well, what's
potatoes
yours?
better be done.
What's yours? If the
See-
Pioneer Woman is insufferable, you better not say Guy Fieri. I'm kicking you off the show.
So I'm gonna say fuck the Food Network entirely and say Great British Bake Off.
Oh,
No.
okay. That's not
Sarah makes
bad,
me watch
though.
that, and I hate it.
It was too
Sarah's
boring.
right and you're wrong because it is a competition show that is cutthroat as hell, and they're all nice to each other.
I would
Well,
say
that's-
Nailed It is probably one of the best if the host
Still
was
gotta watch
really
that.
fucking insufferable.
Yeah, she's bad. I like the premise of that show.
Yeah.
A lot. But if she would just shut the hell up, then everything
Yeah.
would be good.
They've made some hilarious shit, and some of the people are funny, but she's just real fucking annoying. And occasionally they have that thing where she can do the annoyatron and just go,
Yeah,
like,
or
piss
she just
somebody
goes
off.
in and just screams at people.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
And
awful.
I just mute the TV because I'm like, she's not doing a good job of annoying them. She's doing a good job of annoying the fuck out of me.
Yeah, I don't think I watched the first episode and that completely put me off to it, but I like the premise. Max, who's your favorite celebrity chef?
I don't know, Gordon Ramsay, I guess.
That's a good choice.
Yeah.
I liked Gordon before he was on every single show ever. He has like 18 shows on. Like he's the entire Fox network now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I hate the Master Chef with kids. Like, I
Oh
just
my God.
hate watching kids.
Any kids
cook.
baking show is the
Yeah,
worst.
they're awful. But
I disagree.
Any-
I'll tell you why.
Anytime a kid says, I'm going to cook you my cookie recipe, it ain't your goddamn cookie recipe. You didn't invent that.
I'll tell you why I like it because they're not assholes yet. They're right at that perfect age where they're just
They're
like
cocky. They're so cocky, though.
they're so helpful to each other though, and they're not like they're not like, I need 10 grand to get my
You know
kidney
what else
transplant.
I hate about those shows? Whenever someone gets knocked off and they're all like hugging and saying their goodbyes, every single time the kids are like, "Promise me you'll keep cooking." Every single fucking episode, and I hate it when they say that.
And one
I
of these
can't
times,
promise
they're
you I'm
gonna
gonna pass the first grade, so
one of these times they're gonna be like, "This is where my hunger strike starts. I will never cook or eat again."
Hell's Kitchen is the only one that actually depicts what it's really like to be on one of those shows because they all go right in the back and start chain burning cigs, and
And
everything's good in the
there's
world.
always one cook who takes shit super seriously.
Oh yeah,
Like, dude, we're making like $8.25 an hour. Nobody
Dude,
gives a fuck.
you worked in a kitchen. You know that 90% of the kitchen is chain burning cigs in between any time they can get outside.
Well, see, I worked in a kitchen and didn't smoke, so 100% of my time was covering while everybody else went out back and smoked.
You should have just went outside and stood there for a while.
Oh, then who's gonna flip? Oh fuck, I can't remember any customers' names now. Who's gonna flip the eggs for him?
Just get Pedro to do it. I'm sure
I
you got
was Pedro. I am Pedro. You know this.
Well, isn't this supposed to be a show about video games? I suppose we should probably talk about those for a little bit. We actually had a lot of big, next generation news drop this week. So I figured we're going to take a nice, long, hard look at what all the companies are doing. And
Before you do that, I'm curious. What have you played this week?
I was trying to skip that segment because it's really boring. Smash Brothers on the stream is what I was playing. A little bit of Baba's You. Nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same thing for me.
Steve, what are you playing up there?
Well, outside of this starting today, because this is level 1 like tutorial shit, just a little bit of Borderlands, but it was just a filler till something came along and actually grabbed my interest. So I'm hoping to maybe get some people to play this with me.
I will play it with you.
Well, yeah, if I can get time to play with people as well. Oh, good. Weapons can jam. I didn't know that.
Of all the Warhammer, isn't Vermintide? I heard Vermintide 2 was a really good one.
Vermintide 1 was probably one of the last like real co-op games that I sunk my teeth into with a good friend of mine who we just kind of lost contact. And it was not bad. I believe Vermintide 2 was like the much better upgrade, but since I don't really get a chance to do co-op games anymore, that's not really feasible. This is sort of like you can play it alone and it'll still be okay.
So they don't force you to bring like bots or randos into your group to play?
No, I get these two jackass things here, which they're fine, but the game will scale to the number of live players, so the more actual humans, the more enemies you're going to wind up dealing with.
So, Max, you were saying you were playing some Baba's You as well.
Yeah, the game's a lot harder than I thought.
It definitely ramps up pretty quick.
Yeah, we got, I think we finished all but one of the levels in the first batch. Not like the very first batch, but the first like dungeon or whatever. And then we moved on to the second one. We were stuck on like level 4 and 5. Like we could not go any farther because we could not.
Yeah, you just kind of gotta shut her down and go back to some other things, and it'll click. One of these, like I just go back and just rotate through the ones I have, and then usually I get one per sitting now, which is a little frustrating.
I mean, it's weird because there's like literally only 2 options, and we cannot figure it out. Like figure out what the correct formation of horse is.
Is that the one that's zoomed in really far? Like all the sprites are really big.
I don't remember specifically what level we're on, but
I think the biggest downfall of that game is in the beginning it makes you feel like you can do anything. You can solve this a number of different ways, and then by the end of the game it's like there is exactly one move set that you can do to beat this level. Just keep doing it until you figure it out.
Yeah.
Jeff, whiteboard, what do you got?
Only going to do 2 things this week so we can get to our topic. So I started streaming with some other people, so go follow Retro Veggie and Metal Dude X on Twitch. We've been streaming some Overwatch, and
he's leaving us.
If you want to see how bad I am at Overwatch, watch Retro Veggie because he's usually healing me out of position. And the other thing I did this week was I did my first pinball stream over on Flippin' Sweet, also on Twitch.
I wish you told us it was happening. Yeah, I know.
Well, you guys were streaming Smash or Pokemon at the time, so I don't want to bother you. But yeah, I'm streaming again Friday at 8. Anybody wants to come check out some pinball playing?
Stop back here. You'll catch a host, and you can get redirected over to his channel too.
That's all I got for you.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, That didn't take nearly as long as it usually does.
No,
because I cut half my list out.
But let's start with Smash. I guess new update comes out in 50 minutes, I believe.
Is that it didn't come out yet?
No,
Are you
it
joking?
comes out at 9 p.m. So it's funny because Vortex in the chat there is in the UK, so it's really early in the morning for him. He said he's staying up until the update comes out because he wants to main Joker. He says it looks like a lot of fun.
Joker does look like a lot of fun. He has a lot of so he has 2 different like tiers to himself. He feels a meter up, and then he summons a persona, and all of his moves modify. He looks like a lot of fun. I was going to hold off until I saw some more Joker footage, and then I immediately ordered the fighter pass last night. So,
so what, you get like all the new fighters with that? Is that what the pass
you
is?
get you get everything moving forward.
New
From,
fighter
like,
stage
here for the next 2 years or whatever.
Until
5, I think. 5 announced.
Yeah,
Oh,
but they're through like February of next year.
gotcha.
They're is the first fighters pass. And I would imagine that they're probably going to be a second one because I don't think there's going to be a multiple Smash Brothers on this platform, on this console. They're probably just going to keep supporting it. But if you're a Persona music fan, man, they dropped a lot of music on you.
It's such a good soundtrack.
That's what I've heard. I've played a little bit of 4 Golden on the Vita, and that's about my only experience with Persona. And that was just screwing around with somebody else's. I'm looking forward to this hopefully opening the door for a Switch version of Persona 5 because I've heard some very good things about that.
It's coming, and I'm probably going to buy it again so I can play it as a captive audience.
Next, is this first fighter enough to get you to buy the fighter pass?
You
or
mean
at least
enough
buy
to
the fighter?
play the game?
Or enough to play the game, period?
Probably not. But I may start trying to figure out how to play Smash. Who knows?
Let me ask you, who would be a character that you would must play?
It's not the characters. It's just like I know I'm not great at fighting games, and it's gonna take me a very long time to like just get mediocre. So like at this point, like I just don't want to like sink my teeth into it. But I don't know. I mean, maybe I could take some time, like try to play for a couple of weeks, maybe where I won't embarrass myself when we do Smash streams. But
I would recommend just hopping online. Your score will scale, and you'll eventually settle into people that are right around your same skill level, and that's the best way to learn. Learning on a bot is not the way to do it.
Like level 9 bots, it's not the way to play.
No, that's not actually teaching you how real people play Smash.
Technically, it's a Pokemon game too, so you're kind of on brand as long as you stick with one.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of different Pokemon characters. I feel like I should just play against you, playing as Ganondorf Dan, for like the next year, until I could beat you.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not hard to figure out. That's my biggest. I don't ever play anybody twice. I play them until I beat them, and then I quit out of the match because once you figure me out, I'm super easy to beat. But
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's exciting. So we also got a Nintendo Switch version update, and there was a lot of garbage in there, but there was one intriguing update. They finally are allowing save transfers from one Switch to another.
Yay! Just in time for the next iteration of the Switch to come out.
That is exactly what I'm thinking. We're going to start here with Switch. Switch's business model going forward, I think, is definitely going to be a 2-tiered approach. It's going to be a lower end and a higher end version. And so the rumors are that the lower end version is going to be a handheld only, Joy-Con stuck on the side of the Switch.
The Play School version.
And then the high end version, which is just probably the same thing that's out right now. Maybe a better screen, maybe a bigger battery life.
It better be. If it's just a fucking C-stick, I'm not getting it.
I don't think it's going to be much.
Why is there like a Game Boy version? Why?
Because there's always been, and they want to get
the
Pokemon
Switch
in many hands.
It is a handheld console.
It's too expensive.
$300.
This will put it at a much lower price point,
and it also will make it a lot more rigid.
Plus? Do you think it's gonna be like $200?
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
For the regular,
you get it
for
without
the non-docked
the
version.
Joy-Con guts. Yeah, you could probably get it down to $200.
How much was a 3DS brand new?
$250.
Like that, I just can't even believe. But you think they're gonna price a Switch lower than that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Yeah, you can already pick up a Switch for $250 on sale. So
I'll tell you why. Because Nintendo first-party games don't ever go on sale.
Nope.
So once they have you with that system, they'll take a loss on it. But you're gonna buy Mario, you're gonna buy Zelda, you're gonna buy Smash, you're gonna buy every fucking game they come out with.
Nintendo also knows that you're going to need a lot of families have more than one kid, and they're not. You need to be able to trade with somebody in the house. You know that you need to be able to play with other people, and they want to have another entry point. I can see them selling that handheld version only with no anything, no charger, no nothing, just as like a second Switch for your house.
Because they would have done that about 6 months ago.
They actually did that in Japan already. They sold a dockless version for $30 cheaper than the full priced one that only had the Switch itself and Joy-Cons. But that was a Japanese only thing. But Nintendo has had a history of releasing incomplete consoles because I think it was the new 3DS didn't have a charger in it, and that thing was proprietary. So it's not like you could just go down to like Best Buy and pick up a phone charger to charge it with. So is there of 3 Switch owners and 1 person not paying attention, is there anything that you can see Nintendo doing to get you to buy one of these iterations, or are you just kind of sticking with what you got?
Longer battery life, better screen.
I still don't have a game that is going to cause me to buy it yet. I'm interested if it was like real cheap or after version like 1.52, and if they even bother to make a 3 come out and you can get an original one for a couple bucks, like, you know, you can get like a Vita right now, maybe. But I don't have any Switch games that are currently like must-haves, and now that they're breaking more into indies as a selling point, the stuff's already on the PC, so it's just how much am I willing to pay to make it mobile? What's that worth to me?
How much? That's a good question. How much are you willing to pay to make it worth? Is it like $150 still too expensive?
It's still about the need, though. I don't have a need to make those games mobile yet. If something changes and that is valuable to me, that's good.
You just sound like a man who hasn't played games while taking a shit yet. That is the selling point of
I was
going to
say, I'm like in the complete opposite camp because I rarely ever play in handheld mode. You know, obviously I stream
every single day.
Obviously I stream a lot, like playing Pokemon, but like I'm not really ever on my couch anymore, just playing with it not being on the TV.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, the bigger screen like doesn't really matter to me. Better GPU, I mean,
the games that you play really aren't going to be pushing them very hard.
Yeah.
No, I think. Yeah. I mean, the new version, the new Pro model, because the handheld only one probably isn't unless they really make it comfortable to hold, which is one of my main gripes with the current Switch, is it's just too thin. And there's really nothing to grab onto. I think the Pro model would be the only thing I'd be interested in, and then it would need to be something crazy. They'd almost need to release a game that you couldn't play on the old one to get me to upgrade.
But they did that with the new 3DS, and other than Monster Hunter, there's really no reason to own one unless you're a Monster Hunter fan.
Yeah, but I mean, could you see them doing something like that? Like, could you see them releasing the Breath of the Wild 2 as a Switch 2 exclusive?
I could see them maybe doing like an HD texture pack that's only available on the Pro Switch or something like that, or the game will run. It's the same game, but it'll run better on the Pro Switch.
But better or just look better? You mean
look better? Maybe
frames per second. Yeah, the frame rate is usually something that the Switch has been lacking on, especially in the games like Doom and things like that.
What worries me about a handheld only Switch where the Joy-Cons are built in is it's probably gonna look like something Mad Catz would make. Like it won't look. It'll look like a fucking baby's toy.
And that's what I think that's what they're going for.
I know that. That's
I feel like every time I take my Joy-Cons on and off, I feel like I'm going to break them. Especially when I put those little straps on. The first day I bought my Switch, I put the strap on backwards, and I thought I had to throw it out. I thought it was ruined.
Well, there's your problem. I'll break a TV before I put that strap on the Switch Joy-Con.
Yeah, there's
fuck motion controls. 100% fuck motion controls.
You don't play that little guy.
Really? I use it every day.
What's wrong with it?
Dude, he's got to make sure he gets a little excited when he sees that.
I mean, I'm throwing the throwing the balls there.
He doesn't want to launch it right through his monitor.
Buy a Pokeball Plus.
I have that. One. It sucks.
Then use that.
No, it's horrible. Plus, you can't reset the game with that. There's no home button.
Oh, that's right. You reset constantly to scam the game out of some shiny.
That's resetting his life.
That's how you do it, my friend.
So I think we're throwing a couple different viewpoints on the Nintendo, and I think it's pretty much consensus between Jeff and I that a new iterative update needs to be impressive enough to make us buy it, because we're the target demographic for the Pro model. We're the ones that buy the shit day one.
I talk a big. I'm gonna fucking get it. But...
Oh yeah, so am I. No, 100%.
It's my empty threat where I'm like, they better fucking bring it, or I'm still gonna get it.
Yeah, if they do literally anything that looks slightly better, I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah,
I mean, you know what? I'm not gonna trade in the other one either. I'm still gonna hang on to it, and I don't want Nintendo to take this video down, but I'll mod the shit out of it.
There you go. I'll probably give mine to
Steve.
I
already have 2 Switches, so like, there's really no reason for me to buy a third one. Unless the new Pokemon game only runs on the new Switch.
That would be so fucking mean.
Yeah. What if the new Switch comes with a Mecha Mew built in?
Oh yeah, what if that's the only way to get an exclusive Pokemon?
Yeah,
whatever. Doesn't matter.
And then you got to go to the store and just keep buying Switches until you get the shiny version.
That'd be horrible. I mean, that's why the Mew is shiny locked from the Pokeball Plus. You get a Mew in the Pokeball Plus, but it's shiny locked, so people don't do that shit.
Yeah, that would be probably one of the meanest things Nintendo could do, because people would just hoard all those things in the hopes to get one. Mm-hmm. Well, Nintendo's not the only one with big console news. Xbox, the rumors are true. The all digital version of the Xbox One S, the Xbox One S AD, the Xbox One SAD, it has been revealed for $250 with 3 games.
Yeah, it's $50 cheaper than a regular Xbox One, right?
If this console edition was a playground, Microsoft and the Xbox would be the kid with mittens pinned to his jacket. Yeah. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Stop it.
It is MSRP $50 less than the current one, but it is $40 more expensive than what it costs on Amazon to buy an Xbox One S right now.
Well, what if I told you if you bought the discless Xbox, you also couldn't buy 75% of a generation of used games at a third of the price?
Yeah, no, they don't want you to do that. They want you to buy them from them.
But
going forward, I have no issues with removing physical copies. As long as you always have access to them, like as long as the Microsoft servers don't ever blow up, then there's nothing to be afraid of, I don't think.
Yeah, because we've never had games be taken away from servers.
We can give you a couple of examples of that happening this week, but it's nothing we care about, so we're just going to ignore it.
Yeah, no, see, I would agree where I still think physical media has a place.
It's got one more generation, but it's getting close to a tipping point.
Well, we were talking about that, or we brushed on it a little bit, that there was a map of the United States that they used for how many people have access to what they consider broadband, and
almost nobody.
The ISPs write it as like 60-70%, something crazy like that. But I think was it Intel or
Microsoft? Actually,
Microsoft.
They were fumbling another console. They came up with this map.
Yeah, well, they wanted to know what the actual percentages, so they ran their own stuff, and it was not good. It's only like 50% of America has access to broadband, and everybody else is using dial-up or some other form. And the ISPs get away with it because as long as somebody in a geographical census region has
says they have high-speed internet,
then they'll color it in. So there's like 4,000 miles of it was like 20 it was like 4,000 miles of Alaska, because there's one dude there who paid a shitload.
Just has a trunk line run right into his basement so he can watch porn in 4K.
Yeah, but there's tons of rural towns.
I mean, talk about cost versus reward there.
But it shined a little bit more light on that whole part where we all do want to move into the fully digital, but a lot of people can't. They're not ready to because the infrastructure doesn't exist. So as long as that maintains, you're still going to have some form of physical media. The price might go up, or it might just sort of normalize, but I think that's going to stick around for quite a bit because there's no incentive for ISPs to really invest money to bring.
Yeah, it's definitely going to get out, vote, find out what your local congressmen and women are doing with net neutrality and potentially making internet a what's the word I'm looking for, Jeff? Like trash. Yeah.
You were going so well. I was like fucking head of steam.
I was going good,
and then it's like
I couldn't remember the word. Yeah, there's words are hard, man. Words are really hard.
I was gonna say, what a thoughtful space marine.
Yeah, no, I don't think that we're ever not. That's a false statement. I think we're very far away from the Xbox One-esque all digital edition being the only thing that you could pick from.
And I can prove it to you with our next bit of news.
We can.
I mean that's fine. Like, we don't have to push everyone to it. If you have bad internet, buy an Xbox 360, whatever. Keep playing the shitty old games. Like, time moves forward. You have to either evolve or
they still make games for the Sega Genesis down there because they don't have any new systems.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing up here. If the internet is not great where you live, then don't buy a console that's only digital only. Makes sense, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, let's go back and touch on the price. That's way too high, isn't it? Like way too high?
Way too high, yeah.
Like that's like a whole $100 more expensive than I think would have been the correct price for this thing.
$250?
Yeah, I probably would have put it too.
I think 150 would have been like because I don't have an Xbox in the house. I think a 150 Xbox with a couple of games built in, or more important, better would have been a couple of months of Game Pass built in. That would have gotten me in. There's some stuff, some Forzas of the world that
maybe
would
like
be nice
3
to
months
play.
of Game Pass, 3 months of Live.
Yeah,
would have been worth it. 250, but
it's gonna get to the point where you're just looking at a glorified Roku with a like half decent graphics card attached to it.
Oh yeah,
so it's just gonna you're gonna go to a gas station. They're gonna be like the PS6 now next to the Coke.
That's almost what I thought this was going to be. I thought this was going to be the Walgreens console. I thought this was going to be the thing that you would see when you're running late to the birthday party and like, oh shit, what am I going to get Billy? Get him an Xbox sad.
Billy.
Happy birthday, Billy. Sorry your party's lame as fuck.
Although I did, before we move way past it, I know Ryan said that he would be not very happy if you would eventually lose access to your games library, because like anything that has physical media, you can still play. People can pick up a Nintendo, and if you have cartridges, you can still play. But
there also wasn't a 400 gigabyte day one patch that fixed all the bugs that were broken in that game that you're not gonna be able to get from the servers anyways. So
you get what you get. But didn't one of the eShops like completely go down or something like that? Like you can't get stuff for
the Wii eShop, I believe, is shut down as of a few months ago.
Yeah, so
if you didn't have the game you wanted by now for the Wii, I think that's your own fault.
No, but I'm saying like you could potentially purchase one 10 years from now just as a funny collector's item or something, and you can't play any of the digital stuff, which they may or may not have pushed for, but that could be the eventual fate of anything we're moving into too. So if you want to play your
should I return my DVD player because nobody makes DVDs anymore?
Yes.
Yeah.
Get a full refund.
Like, isn't the same thing? Buyer beware. Like, you know what you're getting yourself into.
No, but you could buy a fully digital platform, and eventually they're just like, hey, you know what? It's not worth it to support this anymore. It's done. It's gone. So there is going to be no nostalgia for this because it's dead. Like, it's just gone. And that's the risk you have for any digital platform whatsoever. I mean, Steam is enormous and huge, and we all have tons of money on it, but there's really nothing from it actually just going out of business and then pulling the library down and all your shit's just gone. That's the risk you take with any fully digital platform. So I don't know how much that matters to you, because I mean, I know you had your Jaguar, but you probably still wouldn't just plug it in and play. I still have a ton of old consoles, and I will never probably actually plug them back in.
That's why like I'm not concerned about all digital stuff, because like you're worried about if you're going to be able to play Final Fantasy VII on a discless, that's way too hard to say.
This is literally the worst commercial for
Everybody
this
just
thing.
say dickless like 4 times.
If you want to play that game, by the time the Xbox 50 comes out, it's going to be on that one anyway. So like, it doesn't matter what the old, consoles, whatever.
But do you want to keep having to rebuy things you've already paid for?
If you like the game that much, Fire Emblem, are you going to buy it on the Switch again?
Fuck yeah.
All right, there you go.
Off on a tangent, I'm playing through Final Fantasy VII, and I forgot how absolutely fucking tedious this game is.
Yes.
But I'm still I'm still getting that like nostalgia high off of it, but it's just like, God damn it, I'm marching again. Like, what the fuck? I don't want to do this.
Is that the one where you have to dodge lightning bolts?
No, that was 10, and that was for like the
10?
optional extra super weapon.
No.
Yeah, like
I remember watching my roommate dodge lightning bolts.
The one in the crowd was Final Fantasy 9, which I think is my favorite Final Fantasy.
I think I like 9 more than 7 too. Yeah. After playing through most of 7
9 is so much fun.
9 fucking sucked.
What? Yeah. You're Vivi. How can you not like being
the junction system?
Wait. Sorry. I was thinking 8.
Yeah, 8's terrible.
8 had the current
one. Yeah. No, 9 was pretty good. I did enjoy that one. I remember the stupid summoner lady. The summoners were as powerful as how many rocks you obtained, and I just sat there and farmed them until I could just one-shot shit.
I was never a big... I didn't really play... I played the old Final Fantasies, and then I played 11, and I tried to go back and play those, and did with no nostalgia at all for any of those games. None of them are any good.
No, I think RPGs as a whole have gotten so many quality of life updates that it's
all look like trash.
Hard to go back.
Yeah, anything made...
Super Nintendo ones are good. You can go back and play Chrono Trigger with no nostalgia whatsoever, and it's still a really good game.
Yeah, but there's aspects of it that are just outdated. Like random encounters are just bad. If you just want to get from point A to point B.
Called random encounters.
Yeah, I mean that's like what? Trying to play Destiny with random encounters. Like, can you imagine trying to play that?
Just running around in grass and waiting for somebody to pop up.
Yeah.
But it like in the remakes that they're doing, like any new version of Final Fantasy VII, they have options for just turning off random encounters, so you can just get from like town to town without having to spend 30 minutes fighting level 1 creatures that just keep attacking you.
Yeah, that was an idea that, because, we were talking about the new Pokemon generation and how this current game, you can see the Pokemon in the wild. Other games in the past, you weren't able to. And, I was trying to think of an argument as to why you could possibly want to go back. And, the trailers that they showed for the new game, it shows like they are going back to the old way. But, people are talking about, well, maybe they should add an option where, like you were saying, Steve, you can either turn on random encounters or turn them off. And that's something like I never really even thought before, which obviously they have the technology. They should be able to do that.
Yeah, well, it is a slow evolution of, like, you just weed out some of those old things, and it isn't until you go back that you're sitting there like, oh, God, how did I even, like, live through this? But you just didn't know any better. They hadn't gotten to that point where we realized there's a better way, or it hadn't caught on yet, because I love Final Fantasy American 3, Japanese 6. I will always call it 3 because the fucking cartridge I own says 3 on it. But there are some issues with that game and going back nowadays. But at the same time, Chrono Trigger came out, and that had, the monsters where you bump into them and they pop out. So that was like the proto-genesis of that, although I'm sure there were other games that existed before. And it wasn't until we started to like slowly move on that caught on over random encounters.
Mm-hmm. No, it's going back to what we were talking about and digital only and having your libraries and whatnot. I think the one point that we are missing is you can download this shit and you can back it up and you can put it on hard drives and you can crack it. And there's going to be people that want to play these games in the future are going to be playing these games in the future. You're going to be able to go to a repository somewhere and download these games. So that's something to consider.
Jeff has a stockpile of GameCube games.
I have
bootleg GameCube games.
Sam and Max Hit the Road and Secret of Monkey Island physical CD, because those are two of my favorite games growing up, and getting them to work on a modern computer is fucking impossible. So I have the physical copy, and I play the ROM or the emulated version of it.
As long as you have the actual copy, you're legally allowed to have the emulator. I read the little disclaimer at the beginning.
Right, but yeah, I went out and bought them just because I wanted them to sit behind me where you can't see them, but they're there, and it makes me happy knowing I have them.
So we're blurring these lines to the point where there is almost no difference between having a PC with digital marketplaces and buying a console. That the only difference is it's just a more compact PC with its own digital marketplace.
They're essentially the architecture is 100% just PC architecture.
It's just a PC. So it's going to get to the point where I wonder if like PlayStation doesn't just go, you know what? Why don't we make our own PC library and just put like the PlayStation Network that you could just download like Steam or download.
Xbox already did it.
Yeah, I know they did.
I mean, they're already there. PlayStation wants to push you towards their box. They're still kind of old school with that. Microsoft's going the complete other direction. They want to put their shit on everything and make their money on software.
Yeah,
this really is going to be the last gasp of like dedicated consoles, though. I think the PS5 and the whatever Microsoft sniff and glue going to come out with next.
Yeah, I think we're probably 10 to 15 years away from a PC for the enthusiast and a streaming version for the person that just wants to play a game that's good enough. And that's fine by me, but I know you guys don't like it too much. But Steph brought it up in the chat. They were talking about transferring your older games up to the newer consoles, and Sony didn't want to be left out of the new game or console announcement news. They sat down with Wired. They sat down with Wired, which was weird, and just kind of had a interview with some dude to pretty much announce that they're making a new console, which everyone knew, but still was a really weird way for them to formally come out to the world and say, this is our new box. Look at these specs.
What were they going to do? Go get an E3 floor pass? They skip it this year.
Yeah. But the biggest news was the full backwards compatibility with PlayStation 4. Everything that you bought on PlayStation 4 will work on a PlayStation 5 moving forward.
Good.
Yeah. I think it's the right move. Pushing everybody towards these digital marketplaces and buying them there, and then to shit them out of their games as soon as they buy a new console would be I think it would be a huge black eye. Yeah, Steve, is there as the Steven and Max as the non-PlayStation owners, is the PlayStation 5 on your radar at all? Are you considering? Does it need some kind of crazy killer app to bring you over, or are we just sticking with what we got?
No, I mean, none of the previous PlayStation-only games in the past couple of years were enough to make me buy a PS4.
Spider-Man, God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn,
no, none of them
Yakuza series.
Really
that's on PC now, but
I don't know. I mean, I'm really happy with the Switch, so I don't really see
MLB The Show.
I don't really see
good baseball
getting another one. Like, I'm probably not going to buy. Oh, well, I don't know. It's too early to say. I'm not going to buy the next version of the Xbox because I do have an Xbox One. But that was specifically to play Rock Band 4. That's why I bought an Xbox One. And I think Rock Band is dying, so...
That's your killer app that got you there.
Mm-hmm. For an Xbox One, yeah. So if they make a Rock Band 5 that's, next gen, I guess I would probably buy it.
When did you make the decision to get a Switch? Was there a specific thing that pushed you into it?
Sarah bought it for me.
Sarah asked me what to get him for Christmas, and I said a Switch.
Yeah, because I was wondering how you
perfect.
That
Thank
console.
You, Dad. Yeah, no, Sarah got it for me.
She actually, I think it was her idea, and I just confirmed that you would like said Switch.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a solid idea.
There's I've been a PlayStation household for the last since since GameStop did not have enough Xbox 360s to give me mine. That was when I jumped off the Microsoft bandwagon and was on PlayStation. I went to the store with my pre-order in hand, and they told me, no, you don't get one. I said, that's enough. Never again.
Also,
Sony all the way.
I'm happy you still have the Dota glass that I got you years ago.
Oh yeah, I still wear the polo like every week too.
I see that. You wore it to golf the one time, and I was like, yeah.
It's like super faded now. Like the green is like really starting to not look green anymore. But
well, I would buy you another one, except they don't have them anymore, I don't think. And I got totally fucked on the shipping when I bought the handful of things from them because.
Oh really?
Yeah,
was this from Valve?
Yeah, I bought it like probably the first or second round of the international when we were still like somewhat paying attention. And
we still pay attention. We gamble on that now.
Yeah, that's Dota 2 for you guys that don't know that.
Yeah, I think it was like a Christmas or birthday gift or something. I bought a couple things for a couple people, but I think I came to like $20 or $30 worth of merchandise plus $30 shipping and handling as the only basic option.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I was like, oh shit. So it was too late to try to find something else, so I did it. But
yeah, I still use it. I appreciate the glass and the polo because I still
worthwhile
drink
investment
from it and wear it. So definitely a solid investment.
We break glasses all the time, and Sarah has like a commemorative set from buying some like pen and paper books way back in the day. And I've managed to not break any of those, and I'm really hoping I never do because I'm just like anything but those ones. So I like actively drink out of mugs and shit that I don't care about just so I won't break one of those fucking glasses.
Yeah, definitely.
PlayStation 5.
No, probably not. The deal is, once again, I don't have enough time to play games. So the amount of really good games I want to play on PC that I'm just never going to get around to makes it so any sort of console that doesn't have something specific like the Switch, which would be mobility, is kind of a non-starter. So Jeff was rattling off.
How old's your kid?
2. Well, she will be 2.
2.
But
cut the cord. You got time to play games. She's fine.
No, but you rattled off a bunch of exclusives, and I know some of those are really good games, but there's already a bunch of backlog PC games that I would want to play before I even considered breaking into a whole new ecosystem. Now, that eventually will change, hopefully, because I would love nothing more than to be able to play games with my child if she's into it, but you can't force them to do any of that kind of stuff. And
once your kid sees you holding a controller, she will want it.
Yeah, she loves touching, she loves hitting buttons and things, but doesn't quite have the capacity to understand like a game. But that would be like probably the best part of my life is being able to have summers where we're just hanging out and playing whatever game. I don't give a fuck what it is, but just something between us. And if there's something that she latches onto that's going to be a console exclusive, or if there's some bit of nostalgia that's going to move forward, like My Little Pony Super Destroyer 7000, like in 2031, like I'll play that with her, and that'll be a lot of fun. But for the next few years, probably the next console cycle, it's not really going to be a thing. So another console, like I said, unless it has something that I suddenly need, like a high mobility factor, then no, because I already have a library of games that I can't get to if I wanted to. I just bought a new game today, played it a little bit on stream. But
you bought an old new game.
Yeah, it was old new game, and I'm gonna play it as much as I can, but I'm never gonna see the end of that. I know. I'm probably only gonna get to play with somebody else once or twice, and then it's gonna be the end of it. Doesn't matter how much I like it.
The Sony, the only thing that I can tell you is Sony games are just better. They're just head and shoulders better than what you're seeing for that style of game. The single player, move a story forward game. There's nothing on PC that you can even compare to The Last of Us. You compare it to Uncharted.
I want to go back and play that again, just to play it, because it's been long enough that I forget major beats to it, and I want to experience that again. But I was watching a video on YouTube the other day where fantastic channel called Girlfriend Reviews, where she talks about what it's like to live with somebody who plays these games. But she does this like really in-depth review about how her boyfriend plays these games. But I watched hers the other day about living with somebody who plays The Last of Us, and it was just like, oh shit, I remember like experiencing all of this for the first time as it happened, and just being fucking blown away.
The Last of Us was the last game that I played that every time I played it, my wife and I weren't living together at the time, and I call her on the phone and I'd explain to her what happened in the game because the story was just so goddamn good. And I've yet to, I mean, I've been a PC gamer for probably a little over 2 years now since I built my PC, and I haven't found anything that replicates the feeling I get when I play a Naughty Dog game or when I play a Guerrilla game.
I was just thinking about the Uncharted series. I was like, oh shit, I still have to replay that. Like I beat 4 last year, and then I was gonna go back through 1 to 3. It's like just too much shit. Take my advice. The backlog is like a big heavy blanket or cement shoes in the ocean. Just fucking let it take over and do its job. There's never too big of a backlog. Like Dan mentioned, I mentioned World War Z came out this week, and he's like, "Oh, there's another zombie game coming out next week," and I was like, "Oh shit, you're right." Went and picked it up. I was like, "I have no fucking time to play it, but I'm gonna make some time to play it."
Nah, Days Gone and Mortal Kombat are going to be the only thing I talk about
Shit,
on
Mortal
this.
Kombat comes out next week too.
Yeah, the only thing we talk about, only thing that Jeff and I talk about for the next probably month. So I hope you enjoy it. Please look forward to it.
You are what I was. Like when I didn't have kids and I had more disposable income and a ton of time where I would just play with my friend, like any co-op game that came out brand new, we would just both buy it, or I'd buy a copy for him and we would play all night. I'd go to work the next day. That's all we did. But now, time being a factor and now money being a factor, I just get so far behind in new releases that it doesn't matter to me anymore about picking them up new, and I can sit and wait until a juicy sale comes along, and I'm like, all right, I'll either now play it because I'm sort of in a dead zone, or I'll add it to my library for later. And that's pretty much what this pickup
The interesting
was.
thing about the way you play video games, and it's what I've noticed since we've been doing this, is you gravitate towards really, really long video games. You want to get something that you're going to be able to pump a lot of hours into, and that's not what these PlayStation games are. Even the open world ones, you're like, I mean, unless you want to grind everything out of Spider-Man, you can crank through that in 15 hours and see it and have a really good time with it. Do you think that maybe you don't have enough time to play video games because of the video games that you pick, or is it just because I feel like you have more time to play video games than I do? You talk about playing more video games than I do.
No, it's actual time played is really low and has been extra low for the past few months. But it's not the game like length that I gravitate towards. It's just whatever I feel like playing and the gameplay itself. So like I look at a game like what's it called? Monster Hunter. Because I've had that on my radar for a while now. Haven't picked it up because I know it's going to be a big time investment. Like I'm probably going to play that for 2-3 months solid whenever I do get it, if I wind up liking it. But there's something about that gameplay and the way it's going to kind of do a grind that I think I would really enjoy. But that bug hasn't like quite bitten me yet. Whereas when I was really gung ho about Wildlands, I had really just wanted to play a shooter game.
It always comes back to Wildlands.
I was gonna say the official game of game night now.
We have 12 fucking minutes left in this show. We almost got through a whole episode.
But you asked, and that is one of those games that's super, super long, and I haven't beaten it, and I've been contemplating like going back in and just trying to run through the story and finish it up, just to like put that on my completed shelf. And the last time I started
number 1
it,
in 2019.
Yeah, I walked up to like one little church and a guy shot me in the head, and I just turned off the game. I was like, nope, I'm not going to bother with that. I'm going to go play something else that I want to. But I told you when we first started this that my style of gameplay is a video game locust, right? I get the urge to really want to play something. I find a game that I missed or I want to go back to, and I'll latch on to that until I've sort of leached all the entertainment for that style, and then I'll just move to the next thing. So am I in the mood for a tactical shooter right now? No, I just did that. I probably would really get into an action RPG. What I'm playing now, the Warhammer thing, it's got some RPG elements with like you get XP for kills and you can make your characters more powerful, which I always like FPS RPGs, but they're kind of few and far between. So
Well,
I don't know. We'll see.
I want to just touch back on the couple of more features that they announced on the PlayStation 5. See if these tickle your fancy. I think the one that everyone seems to be on the internet that's fancied about is a built-in SSD, so that game makers can start counting on those load speeds coming in. They showed some demos of Spider-Man loading really, really fast, and everyone was happy about that.
Yeah.
The other big one that they said was there is going to be a disk drive. They're not dumping the disk drive yet, so that's good for our last topic.
And it'll come out when everybody's Gamers Club Unlocked is officially done.
Yeah. Why is that though? Like, I have no idea why we're still sticking with disk instead of SSDs. I would have figured
another hole you want to jam PS4 discs into.
It was a cost. It was just a cost thing. I mean,
no. I mean, like the storage in general.
Oh, you mean sticking with CDs instead of switching to like a solid state media like the Switch did?
Yeah, well, does it? Actually, I could be completely wrong on this. Do all of the new consoles, the actual internal hard drive, is it spin or
they're all spinning disks still?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like that, we haven't moved to having nothing but solid state drives. It's kind of baffling.
Next generation's when is going to be the first, probably all solid state drive generation.
I mean, shit, half the computers that are like businesses are moving to have solid states. They don't have.
It's just a cost thing. I mean, you gotta realize these things are, in the grand scheme of things, pretty cheap for what you're getting out of them. I mean, to get a PC that can play the games as accurately as a PlayStation 4 plays the game, you're not getting it for $200. You can't buy a $200 PC and play a video game with the same fidelity that you can on a PlayStation 4. And I mean, that's why the disk drive is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I got my first solid state, it was only like 128 gig, and that was like 5+ years ago. And that was probably like $200 or something in that neighborhood. And then 2 Christmases ago, my brother-in-law got me a 500 gigabyte SanDisk, and that was only like 150, 170. And now that same one is like sub 100 ZZ. It's like maybe $70, something like that. So everybody's looking at the like terabytes almost. So
yeah, well, you're also
terabyte yesterday for $45.
You're also talking about SATA 3, and I mean, this chipset that it's putting on here is going to be SATA 4. It's going to be faster. I mean, the all solid state drives are not created equal. I mean, the one that I have in my box, I have an NVMe, which is just so goddamn lightning fast. It's insane.
Just get some of that Optane. You'll be good to go.
But so
rub some cheetah blood on your solid state hard drive.
To close out the topic, we've touched on what we feel like and what they've announced. The next kind of iterative console generation is going to be. Have to pick one gun to your head, Steve. Which one are you going with? New Nintendo Switch, new Xbox, new PlayStation?
No, I'd just take the bullet because otherwise I wouldn't be able to sit here.
You would rather get shot.
No, because then I wouldn't be able to come here every week and listen to 2 assholes talk about consoles that I don't fucking care about.
Max, gun to your head.
I'd have to go into it.
I guess I would take a new Switch.
Jeff.
That bullet's coming back at the shooter because I'm getting both.
Both. There's 3 options.
Well, yeah. Well, we didn't really talk about
all of them.
Yeah.
All right. So Jeff,
you're getting the diskless Xbox.
Oh no. Yeah, I got the 1X, and that's as much as they're getting out of me.
Make sure you say diskless nice and slow, so you don't say
diskless
out loud.
I just wanna real quick. I have been getting chat requests from Metal Dude X this entire fucking podcast, and I will be on Overwatch soon.
We have one more segment to go through, and that we had so much fun drafting the Genesis Classic last week that we are going to, 1 week at a time, 1 round at a time, draft what we think would go on to a Game Boy. Max, do you have that fired up?
No, I didn't think we were actually doing that.
Yeah,
never mind.
I have no games selected.
It's one round. Pick one game.
I have my game right here.
I picked Tetris. All right, next.
You fucker.
Is that what you?
It wasn't. No, that was round 2.
Oh, okay.
Somebody else go. I have to look at.
Well, I mean, I'm low man on the totem pole. I can't go second.
It's all right. We're not writing these down. What do you want?
This is gonna be
Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins. The greatest Game Boy game ever made.
This is
so
awful
that I bought
content.
That I bought a color version of it.
We shouldn't even do it because I can't do anything with this garbage.
Pokemon Red Blue.
That would have been my second pick, I guess.
Yeah, well,
you went with Tetris, you son of a bitch.
All right, I'll start out with Kirby's Dream Land. But yeah, that was useless. So we're just gonna do this again next week, and Mex is gonna have.
I don't know, man. That was a Picasso. Don't put your foot through it.
I mean, you said you wanted it to be quick. That was pretty quick.
To be fair, let me pull this up.
It was quick. It was also bad.
Here's the topic for tonight.
What does that say?
New console
New
evidence.
cuisine evidence.
Yeah, I write like a child. New console evidence was the only topic brought up today, so he's off the hook for this one.
All right, man. Well,
I did write down a bunch of Game Boy games to pick from.
That was one of the most engaging shows that we've had, and I had a great time this week.
Everybody talked. It was great.
If you liked what you heard and saw, come back next Wednesday. We do this every Wednesday, 8 o'clock, right here, twitch.tv/GameNightNow or GameNightNow.com. We're also, I'm going to throw this up on YouTube. And this was good enough that I might even put it back on the podcast services. So check out your podcast services, and we'll be there too. Let's call it. It's probably just going to be called Game Night Now. Forget that whole random encounters thing. So until next week, I'm Dan with Jeff and Steve and Mex. We'll see you next week. You clapped too early.
You can't clap that early, man.